Hi there, everybody. Welcome to Module 8 and Executive Function number 7, Planning and Prioritization. So, what are we going to talk about today? Today, we are talking about healthy planning and prioritization, what that looks like, what you can do to encourage healthy planning and prioritization. We're also going to cover some potential issues that go along with planning and prioritization, and then we will talk about how to cope with executive dysfunction in this area specifically. So, healthy planning and prioritization. What exactly does this look like? Planning, prioritization is basically when you plan the steps of something that needs to happen, and you are able to prioritize in what order those steps should be followed. So when this is done in a healthy way, you are able to break a task down into smaller tasks. You are able to pick where to start without too much stress or distress. And you're able to feel comfortable transitioning from one part of the process to another. All of this is important for healthy planning and prioritization. And when you have healthy planning and prioritization, you understand that done is better than perfect. Instead of trying to perfectly plan out how to do something, you are going to simply say, here are the things that need done, I'm just going to do it. You don't overthink. So if all of this is sounding all of this talk about overthinking is sounding a little familiar, let's hop into signs that you might be struggling with planning and prioritization. Number 1 is being obsessed with efficiency. Oftentimes, we struggle to plan and prioritize because we struggle to see the most efficient way to do things. We might think, okay, I have to pay bills, do dishes, and pick up the house. So I should pick up the house first, but no, I can't really pick up until I pay bills because that's how I get them off the counter. But if I pay bills first, I'm going to go to the store to get stamps. So I should probably, do you see how this becomes paralyzing, right? Getting obsessed with efficiency is not helpful. Doing tasks in the most efficient manner is not important, actually, which is kind of mind-blowing. At least it was for me when I learned it. The truth is, you don't have to be the most efficient person out there. You are allowed to simply get stuff done in a way that makes sense to you and feels good. And sometimes we think, yes, but the most efficient way will feel the best. It's not about feeling the best. It's just about feeling good. It's about done, not perfect. So the next issue is sort of a David versus Goliath situation. If you don't know that story, it's basically where a teeny tiny, even for a regular human, relatively small human, faces off against this giant from like the Bible, I believe. So sometimes if we struggle with planning and prioritization, the task we're trying to tackle can feel way too big, and we've simply got no idea where to start. This is sort of an emphasis on the prioritization section, right? Sometimes we struggle to know, like, which of these steps is most important? Which of these steps do I start with? How do I even start when there's so much that needs to be accomplished? And that can be really, really disabling, if I'm being honest. So the key to planning and prioritization really is to forget about efficiency, to forget about the best place to start, and to focus on progress. And this works if you're dealing with the David versus Goliath feeling too, because a lot of that comes from, how do I beat this? Like, what's the most efficient way to beat this problem? And again, you got to take a step back from that efficiency viewpoint and just realize that any progress is good progress. Even if you end up having to do something twice because you accidentally did it wrong, at least then you started, right? At least then you have gotten started with the task. And once you start, things will start to fall into place. So how exactly can we cope when we are struggling with all of this? So first, you can write down the task you want to accomplish and break it down into smaller tasks. This is often very hard to do in our heads when we have executive dysfunction in this area, but it's often a lot easier if we do it on paper. So take the task that you are trying to get done, maybe draw it even. Drawing could be really helpful. Draw it as a great big square, and then draw little shapes inside of the square and break it down into what needs done. And then maybe highlight things or color them in as you go. That could be a really great visual way to cope with this issue. The other way is to, as we talked about before, forget about efficiency and focus on getting something done. And remember that every step you take forward is worth celebrating. Every step you take toward your goal is important, even if it's messy, even if it's sloppy. So the homework for this week is to go ahead and fill out the week 8 worksheet, which is available in the Thinkific portal, and I will see you in the next module.